Hey boys and girls, so today we're going to be doing Unit 1 quiz review. Again, the unit number is in the top right hand corner, and again, right next to it, it tells you what it is that we're doing for that day. So today we're going to be reviewing for our quiz, which covers lessons 1, 2, and 3. There's two major topics that we've been going over during the last 3 days. One of them would be adding and subtracting monomials, and the other is multiplying monomials. All right, if I'm adding and subtracting monomials, there's two steps that I have to remember. I'm just gonna highlight those out on the side. The first is gonna be identifying like terms. This is always gonna be your first step. And then after you've identified like terms, next you're going to add the coefficients. And again, the coefficients are the numbers in front. And then after, you are not going to change the variable or the exponent. Okay, it's super important that you remember not to change the variable and the exponent. All right, and then it's a different set of rules if I'm multiplying monomials. So instead of adding the coefficients in front, this time I'm going to multiply those coefficients out front, right? Those numbers out in the beginning. And then we're going to add the powers of like bases. So again, this also has two steps. First, I have to multiply the coefficients, and then next I'm gonna add the powers, and again, powers means exponents of like bases. I'm gonna go through a few examples with you, and then you're gonna practice the rest on your own, and then we'll go over it at the end. All right, here we go. So again, the directions tell you to simplify each of the following expressions by using the proper rule. So as I look at number 1, it's telling me that I want to subtract those two monomials, those two terms, because again, I'm seeing the subtraction symbol in the middle. So if I want to subtract, my first step is to identify like terms. Now, I know negative 8x, and I know that negative 3x are like terms, because they have the same variable, they both have x, and they both have the same exponent, and that exponent is that invisible 1. So I can go ahead and subtract those from each other. First, I'm going to subtract the coefficients. So I have negative 8 minus 3, that's how you would type it in the calculator, and after you subtract, you should be getting a negative 11, and then just like the directions at the top, you do not change the variable or the exponent. So it's going to be negative 11x to the first power. That's number 1. Number 2, I know that this is telling me to multiply monomials because I see those parentheses, and parentheses tell me to multiply. So if I look back at those rules, the first step is to multiply the coefficient. Again, the coefficient on the first term is 9. And the coefficient on the second term is negative 5. 9 times negative 5 is negative 45. And then I have to go back and add the powers. So I want to add the exponents of like bases. I know x squared and x to the 4th are like bases because they both have the variable x. So I'm going to take the exponent of 2 and I'm going to add it to the exponent of 4. So when I multiply x squared and x to the 4th, it becomes x to the 6th power. And now that I've multiplied them, I can just cross them out because I'm done with them. I don't have to use them again. The only variable that's left is y, so I just bring that down in my answer since it doesn't multiply with anything else. All right, let's do another. Let's look at number 3. So number 3, I see more than one operation. I see subtraction and I see addition. So my first step when I'm adding and subtracting is to identify like terms. The first term has an xy squared, and the last term has an xy squared. So I know those are like terms. I'm going to go ahead and try to combine those. It says that I have to combine my coefficients, right? That's the numbers in front. So I can see the number out front here is a positive 8, and the number out front here is a positive something. I don't know if I see it, but I know it's really an invisible 1, so I'm going to go ahead and draw that in. So 8 plus 1 is 9. I'm going to write that down. And then my final answer would be 9xy squared, because again, I do not change the variable or the exponent. This minus 3x doesn't pair with anything, and that's okay. So I just bring it down and rewrite it at the end. Minus 3x, and I'm done. Let's try one more. If we look at number 4, I know that this is representing multiplication because again, I see the parentheses here. So when I look at multiplying, the rule is to multiply the coefficients, which are those numbers out front. -4 is the coefficient on the first term. 7 is the coefficient on the second term. So -4 times 7 is -28. And then I have to go back and add the exponents of like bases. So I see the base, or the variable a, in the first term, and I don't see an a in the second term. And that's okay. A doesn't pair with anything, so I'm just going to bring it down. I have a b in the first term, a b in the second term, so I will go ahead and add those exponents on my variables b. The exponent on this b is an invisible 1. The exponent here is a 3. So when I multiply b to the first and b to the third, that gives me b to the 4th power. All right. I need you guys to just try the rest of the questions in this lesson. At this point, you should be pressing pause, and then when you're done, you can check back for your final answers. Okay, here are the answers for 5 and 6 on the first page. All right, I'm gonna flip to the next page. All right, so now we can see 7 through 15. Please feel free to again pause the video if I'm going too quickly while showing you the answers. I highlighted numbers 8, 9, and 15 because those were a little bit challenging. Number 8, I have an x squared in the first and the third term, but the coefficient is 6 in the first term and it's -6 on the second. When I combine those, 6 minus 6 is 0. So this really just disappears from the problem altogether, and I should only have a y answer left over. And then same thing with number 9. There was 4 different terms here, but only 2 of them combined because this has a y and this has a y. So when I add them together, I get 9y. Y squared and y to the third are not like terms, so I can't pair them together. So both of those just dropped down for my final answer. And then number 15 might have been a little tricky just because there was no coefficient on the first and the third term, but it really is there. It's that invisible 1, so I would go ahead and just add that to your notes in case you missed that. Let me push this up a little bit. Okay, and now you can see 16 through 21. Again, 21 might have been a little tricky just because it looks like there's no coefficient on all 3 of these terms, but really there is. It's an invisible 1. Okay, and then last but not least, this last page here. So now we have 22 through 30. And again, if I'm going too quickly, feel free to pause the video and check your answers. And then we have the closure, which you also should have completed on your own. Haley said the answer to the following problem is 2x squared plus 6x. Is she correct? Unfortunately, Haley was not correct because if I were to follow the rules on the first page, I'm seeing adding and subtracting here. So when I look at those rules, the first step says to combine like terms. So I circled the first and the third, since those have x squared, they're like terms. And then I underlined the second and the fourth term. Since they both have an xy, those are like terms. So -1 plus 2 is a 1x squared. And then a 3 minus 3 is 0. And those just cancel out. So unfortunately, this was the correct answer, not here, and she was wrong. If you guys have any questions, feel free to send us a message on Canvas, and we will get back to you. Thank you.